Bruce, and today with Kai at Kai's Musings, we are going to discuss what invisible labor goes on behind the scenes before you sit your ass down to enjoy a game.
A
Kai,
lot.
Kai, been doing this for years, man. How was your week? You have a good week?
It's been a good week, and I'm on vacation for the next week, so I'm doing real good.
Oh boy.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds delightful. Not
It
having to
is.
worry, not having to deal with it.
Nope.
Yeah, I got 30 days and I'm going to be moving out of here. I'm going to try to get as much of this shit done out of this place before I call in the cavalry, but the cavalry will get called, I guarantee. So we are, and the wife is over there right now and taking care of the business of her upstairs. I'm giving her the whole upstairs. She can have all of it. Have the
Okay.
meeting room, have the bathroom. It's all yours. I don't fucking want to deal with it. If you want it, go ahead.
Well,
So yeah,
it's not bad.
no, no. So with that being stated, we're going full bore into this and gonna buy it out after about a year of rental. It's gonna be turned over and looks like it's gonna be a fun ride. The kitchen has got a real issue with the refrigerator because they just left food in it.
Uh-oh.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's disgusting.
Bad.
Horrible. Like the
Ooh.
interior is like all cockroach bait. So I want to see if I can like rehab it. If I can rehab it, great. If not, it goes out to the dumpster. The dumpster will be the Rubicon of the equipment that cannot get it. But with that stated, I'm looking forward to this. It's going to be fun.
Oh, yeah. And I hope. Hey, crafting.
Crafting, what's going on, buddy? So we're going in hard on this because it is a special thing.
Well, yeah. You're getting free of being a renter.
Yeah. I mean, officially, we're going to rent to own the first year, but with the option there to buy. So that'll be that'll be good. Looking forward to this. It's going to
Oh,
be
it'll be great.
yeah. My boss is ecstatic for me. He's like, I can't believe you're fucking going hard as hard as you are into this. I'm like, I got to, dude. I'm so fucking done renting out places. And this is 2,400 square feet. Yeah, what's the negative? Well, it's like if you hold your arms out to your side, that's how much room I got between me and my neighbor. But it seems like the guy next to me is pretty all right, and I know he's going to die soon if I don't get along with him. So that's okay because he's like ancient. Like you look at a person and you're like, you better like get your paperwork squared away, sir. Like he looks like that. Like
Oh, he's that old.
yeah,
That.
that old. He's a wrinkle factory. It's kind of
Oof.
impressive. But everything's going pretty all right, and can't really complain. So today, I stayed home, enjoyed my gaming day, and spending it with you, hanging out, get a chance to
Yep.
listen to what you have on your mind. I want to talk about the things we do getting ready for a game.
Oh, yeah.
So
And there's a lot of homework.
yeah, it really it seems like it's kind of like a big haul of like labor, but it's not. It's
No,
really not.
I actually had a conversation about this on my birthday um, last week, 2 weeks ago, and we actually I had for all the homework, all the other weird things we do, and it's one of those where you you're gonna sweat now or you're gonna sweat later. You work out hard now, and you get to coast later, or you coast now and then you sweat it out. You sweat later, and it's better to do it. Better to do it early. Better to do it when you got a chance to have fun, and so that way you can make it look easy later on for everybody else.
I fucking agree.
And I, and the thing that came up in the conversation was almost exclusively we hit on how much what is our actual job as GMs, and we hit the point that I think we kind of hit on was we're not authors, we're not writers, we are writers, but we're not authors. We don't dictate shit. It's and I have another friend of mine. She's just starting into GMing, and she's scared because, well, she's not scared, but she's
Worried.
worried. She's like, I've never done this before, and I'm like, well, you've role played, right? And she's like, well, yeah. I mean, you've run for me, and I go, yeah. That's why we're still talking, and she's like, how do I write a story? And I'm like, you don't. Honestly, you don't. It's nice to have that big grand plot line. It's grand, She's like, but you have all this story and stuff. I go, no, I have a lot of gears that are moving in a machine, and I'm the monkey that turns the handle. You do shit. I turn the handle that makes the music that makes you guys do whatever you want because I give agency, a lot of it. But that's because I put in a lot of work to know how the system works. And she's like, "Well, you make the story sound like it's like it's there. It feels like you put homework into it." I go, yeah, because I spend all my time thinking about what's going on in between sessions. When you guys ask me questions, it makes me think. I I'll be honest. Outside of some grand end goal of saying there's going to be the bad guy, there's a dragon out there. That's it. And hell, there might not even be a dragon. There's no Smaug, there's no Dark Lord, or there might be one, but I'm not forcing the plot line on top of you. It moves at the I know I've done but the thing is that what came out of this conversation was we actually had a moment of going, what do you do when the players like pull like ask yourself as a GM, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to be an author, a director, a storyteller, a writer who's some kind of master thing and your players are just actors in your play and you're just trying to force them to guess what your solution is? And for
And
a lot of
after 35 minutes of them thumbing around and figuring out what the fuck to do, they will walk off the stage left. We will change the scenery, and then they will go to the next same tired tropes again until we have my linear plotline all figured out. And then after that, they will fight the orcs at the gates, and then they will rip off the blue-haired wig girl, and they will triumph in masculine fashion. Yes, that sounds like a terrible game.
but the thing here is that deep down, that's what a lot of us actually do. I mean, we don't want to admit it, we don't want to say it, but we do all that.
Yeah.
It's how we run, it's how we play, and it's not good. So, and I was agreeing with this guy over the idea of maybe because the idea that what do you do if you cut the strings and let the players do?
Just play.
Let the players set the go.
Yeah.
Because there has to be at the first 3 or 4 sessions where you've been playing, where you have to have something to run to give them that first
Yes.
boost of energy to get them engaged, and from there, the players should like you're the GM. You should be reacting. To be brutally honest, as GM, you're they act, you react, and then provide the response. Act, react, response, and and like playing back and forth. You're enforcing the rules. You're moving the setting, and it's one of those players move, things react around you. The
Yeah.
thing here is that what he what we came to the realization is what do you do like if you were to take away all the veneer of you being the director and let the players sit in the world you created for them, will they do anything? Have you done enough? Have you done enough? And have your players done enough? Because it's not a one way street.
You
You are
remember
not the
you remember my
director.
failure, don't you?
Was that?
You remember my failure, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. That pissed me off so bad because like I had everything, I had plot points, I had plot hooks, and like you guys can go on these different little sandbox paths and enjoy yourselves, and they fucking didn't do shit. They just
Yeah.
sat there wait for next plot hook to force them into a fucking conga line. All right, come
And
on. You're getting invaded by hobgoblins.
and the thing here is that that's at so on some level it's a it is a failure on our part as
Hmm?
GM, but it's also a failure on the part of the players. It is our fault for not giving enough. It's their fault for not being engaged enough to do anything. And we came to that, and like the conversation back and forth came to the players have to be just as engaged as we are. Otherwise, they're just sitting around doing nothing, waiting for us to prompt them. And the thing is that I mean, if we had not like, and part of it is our own fault for how we reinforce actions. So when a player does something wrong, how do we punish them? How do we encourage?
This right here is going to cause his daughter to have some serious thoughts about life. Wait, you guys all want the mutant and the heretic to come to light so you can have violence?
Yes.
My buddy Tiffany, she's like, this is kind of a cool game, but it's weird because like every guy that plays it, they want the violence of this game system, just like thousands of characters just to exchange gunfire and fall over. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of what we do.
That is kind of what the game is.
Yeah, I mean that's Warhammer. That's what it
I
is.
hate to say it, that's Warhammer. First off, everyone likes orcs because it's so easy to play when you first start. They're the most creative and fun faction. You can't fault anyone for playing orcs.
Really, no, I wouldn't. Especially a new player. Even more importantly, a female player that is at a firehouse facility where young men volunteer for it. Oh God, dude, that's awesome.
That's awesome. Really,
Yeah, you're gonna have a lot of filtering to do of like, okay, which one of you gets to take her to the homecoming dance, and then suddenly you're gonna be volunteering to be the homecoming chaperone. Chaperone,
it's a small price to pay.
not bad.
Don't don't worry. One of my friends, his daughter who plays 40K. She runs Sisters of Battle and she runs yeah, orcs. The other one runs Nids. The other daughter runs Nids. So like he got them started and said, "Here, learn to play I play Sisters of Battle. You know, the idea of, oh, girls want to play want to use the girls faction, and both of them went no, no. They went to I went to the Horde factions, and I'm like, I love these. They're wonderful.
Travis is like, nope, she gets no boys until she turns 21. You're gonna
Lies.
you're gonna introduce her to boys and alcohol at the same time. This is not a very good idea.
She'll realize she's a queen a queen amongst her people.
Seriously, dude. She starts hanging out with the guys that are fucking quoting Inquisitor series by Dan Abnett, and next thing you know, she's gonna be dressing up as a Sorita for Halloween, and like all the thirsty boys, like, oh my god, she looks so hot. She got white hair.
She could have boys and boys friends, but yeah, good answer.
That's acceptable. I actually don't mind the idea of like female battle hardened vets in the 40K universe because, like, if everything's getting invaded, I would hope the women learn how to hold a bolter. I'm not saying they all could be like Custodes, but
No, but yeah, I understand. Oh God, but yeah, no, like we said, I think it's just simply that. No, but back to the idea that we put in a lot of work ahead of time is it can be a whole lot of work, but it really there's one thing you're going to hear from everyone is simply know the rule. I know the rules and the things that are going to be in the area that you're going to run through, and really seriously put the homework in. Don't be one of those people who has to like open the book and flip through shit during game because it's
you're just helping out a bad stereotype.
yeah, and you really need to just when I said put in the blood, sweat, and tears ahead of time. That's reading. It's reading. It's learning the book, learning the rules, learning the things that you're going to actually do. Like realize that you need to have a command of the area your players are going to be in without having to constantly refer to the manual because that will break um, instantly the first off nerdy nobody plays fantasy. Nagash is fantasy. They're playing 40K, the superior, more awesome, more amazing version of Warhammer, which is a lie because I actually like fantasy a whole lot. But oh yeah, definitely is. Um, but no, it is simply know the setting, know the terms, know the feeling that you're going to have, and realize that all the work you're going to put in will mean absolutely fucking nothing when your players do something weird because ultimately the players are what you're the players are not the ones in charge, but they're the ones who are the customer who are consuming the game you're running. They're the ones who are setting the pace. Yes, you can have the story, but you need to know your lore. You need to know everything that you're going to put into the world. But the thing is you don't need to know everything right now. If especially when you're starting, and everything will just grow around it. But you need to know that core fundamentals, like, and because every game is trash.
Have you
No,
have you looked at Shadow Dark yet?
which one's that one?
Okay. Like a typical torch will last you 30 minutes, but if you have three torches together, that will provide you 8 hours of campfire time.
Okay,
Nobody has dark vision. No elf, no dwarf, no halfling. You all are blind in the dark. James, on your Discord, there's an invite for you. Um, Shadow Dark is a very neat little, very light OSR game, but
Okay.
it's got a lot of trappings of 5e in it. And there's so much in it that you could mine to make your own game better,
Yeah.
performance better. It really is one of those games that you read it, you get pissed off because like a girl wrote it, a woman who wrote after meeting up with Gary Gygax and other people in the industry, and they told her, "Don't let the shit that I wrote in the '70s ruin you." Because I was writing things because at the time I was upset and there was something else on my mind and I couldn't tell you what it was. But go ahead, write your books. Please write your books. Make them awesome.
Yeah.
And he didn't know that Kelsey was going to write the most popular independent OSE game or OSR game out there. There's people I know that play OSE and then they play Shadow Dark and they never go back to OSE again. OSE is like the super indexed, very well documented version of Basic with a little bit of
Mm-hmm.
like first edition thrown in. And then you have Shadow Dark come along and it completely dethrones it and depowers it. Just there's no more OSE. OSE is having to redo everything. They're having to repackage new stuff or old stuff
Okay.
because Shadow Dark just ate their lunch.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, and it's a 5e adjacent game. So if you want to play a game like 5e and you've got players like that are into the new stuff, they're gonna look at it and be like, "Oh my god, this is so great!" And more so, like it's kind of set up with the same mindset that our index card RPG has.
Okay.
So the more you play it, the easier it's going to fucking be for you. It's just one of those delicious games that it plays so easy and so quick. So it does have the 5e engine in it, but they try to glaze over stuff that slows things down far too quickly, and I do like that.
That's inevitable. I mean, with that game engine, it's inevitable.
Yeah.
But everyone's got their own solution to how to fix it,
Hmm.
and and I love that fact.
Yeah, they say it's OSR like, but it's really not OSR like. It's kind of got the blend of the mindset of OSR, but then it takes fifth edition and it cuts out all the fat. So if you like fifth, if you like fifth edition, give Shadow Dark a try.
Hey, for me, it's just simply I've managed to get people to I like I know I'm playing a 5e game right now, but I'm also got them to play a bit of a bit of Traveler. Managed to convince them to try Exalted. I've had people go, "No, World of Darkness," because I realize I'm an old fuck. I like World of Darkness, and
I like Second Ed World of Darkness.
yes, but I'm also a bit of an old fart, so therefore here's me going, hey, how about some? If you say Mage the Ascension, we're just gonna fucking throw you out again. And I'm like, Mage the Ascension is a fantastic game, everybody. You know that. And everyone's like, yeah, no, but that's because it's Mage the Ascension, and I love it. But I'm like one of the few people who do. So, but we're a small but loyal community of weirdos, and I'm okay with that. And I know most people are like, it's fun. It's fun to try, but we don't want to spend all that time. Like, I understand, it's cool, but I'm not sure I would get them to. I think we're at the point now with 5e that of the set. of the oversaturate. It's gotten to the point now where it's fracturing under its own weight because nobody can agree what rule set and
You had
what
one edition come out, and then like you had 7 releases for
mm-hmm.
that one edition. Of course, people are confused.
And plus everyone's got their own house rules now, and then third part. I didn't realize how much shit was written for for 5e.
There's a
I
lot.
didn't. It's a fucking metric shit ton,
Mm-hmm.
and it's it's like I thought third edition was bad or Pathfinder was bad
Oh,
for the sheer volume of trash that's been written for it, and it's dear God, and being shown all the third party shit, and I'm like, well, fuck, and I'm like, you guys are now as bad as okay, you guys can't make fun of us third edition players anymore. You fuckers are just as bad as we are.
they are.
And they're like, yeah, we know. And I was just kind of laughing about that, and I'm okay with the fact that that it is a dumpster fire now, but I can understand what's going on there. It's just one of those things. Uh, I don't know how to best put it. So, but everyone's running into everyone has the same problems and same struggles. So I'm not gonna knock it too bad.
I like it whenever we start getting geared up for a game, and we start looking at like who's going to be there. Start looking at the list of people that can and can't show up, and then you get that one message where your buddy that you were kind of making the game for this person, he's like, "I gotta not be there. I got things going on." God damn it, you faggot! You know, you hate that feeling. That's normal. And these people like, it's not that they're taking advantage of you, but they just can't show. It's all it is. Don't make a big deal about it. It'll be there next time.
Yep.
I find it hilarious. It's like, all right, we'll see you then.
Fine. Guess.
It does suck, but we'll get through it. And then like today, like the last half of the game, I felt like I was just literally letting them have just all the control. I wasn't trying to force them anywhere. I'm like, okay, listen, you could go back to the dungeon and look for all the secret doors that expose where you missed shit and go mess with fucking machinery levers and possibly get your arm cut off in a combine accident. Go ahead. Or you can just leave here, turn it over to the guild, let them send some dungeon cleaners in, and they'll probably send like 20 or 35 third level dudes in here and just see who fucking makes it. Because that's kind of the attitude they've got when it comes time to, like, okay, it's promotion time. Who's willing to rise to the top?
That's a good way to. It's a good way to get promoted.
I fucking love it. Old School Essentials is a good system if you want to play like BX or Rule Cyclopedia. It's great for that, and it's so well indexed. There's no way in hell you can miss shit. Palladium Fantasy would be my go-to if I hadn't discovered D&D, because I actually like Palladium Fantasy's lore better. Nobody ever plays with the fucking lore of Palladium Fantasy though, and it pisses me off.
Yeah.
I want to play in a fucking contested land between the lands of the Wolven and the lands of the humans. I want to figure it out if I can help contribute to the piece. I think that's great.
Yeah.
I know that's lame, but that's what you get for whenever you watch fucking the 1980s pass by, and it's nothing but fucking like war talk, 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 all the way through the 1980s. I get a chance to be a fucking diplomat. Oh, give me. I don't need to be a fucking Warhawk or fucking John McCain's type of guy. I could just be a dick the way I am.
Well, we did kind of live through that entire that generation. So, and it's kind of weird to be able to say that way, but we lived through a really shitty era where we lived in that perpetual the bomb just hung over our heads for all eternity.
Here's a sort of Damocles kid. It's an A bomb.
Yeah,
And they fucking got upset because we focused on it all the time. But you guys, I'm not the one that forced you to make the movie after the bomb, and then split up in two parts and try to make some really crappy sequels for it. But after the bomb by itself, amazing.
yeah.
Any further after the bomb, the movie is what I'm referring to. After the bomb, the other stuff, the series, the sequels, not into it. Sounds like it's party whack time for a new adventure.
I
Try to
think that
avoid that.
that was another thing that came up in that conversation I was talking about earlier was
Yeah.
what do you do when the players say they don't know what to do without having you grab them by the hand and lead them to the next plot point? And it's like, well, what do you do? And the one thing I was like is, you end the game. What? The
Yeah.
game's over. Because obviously there's no story. Like, without you force feeding the story to them, they've got no options. They got no ideas. And once again, this is after you've made them, after first level where you're supposed to have training wheels and you're supposed to handhold them. But after a certain point, the players should have their own inertia and own motivations, and that you should have put the work in so that way they could take the reins and they can push it. But a lot of us have unfortunately don't we don't encourage free will in our players. We don't encourage choice or actions. We take the we take the entire burden of all story has to be done by us. We're the ones who have to do all the hard work. We force it, we take it on, and if our players go outside, step out of the lane, off the rails, get and start wandering into the weeds, we punish them. Suddenly nobody knows anything, or everyone just keeps telling you to turn around and head back to the main area. We have guards or dragons that show up and then beat you up for no reason because you walked out the bat into the part of the map we haven't mapped. And because we as players, we as GMs, we don't handle um, ad libbing very well. We don't know how to improv very well because, well, we're not very good storytellers. We're not, and this is why I say you need to have a grasp of, put the sweat in early to know what the world and the area you're in is going to be like. Have an idea. You don't have to have it down to Tolkien levels or Robert Jordan levels. You don't need to be a Martin. You can literally just be somebody who's like, no, I know roughly the idea of what's in the next 25, 30 miles around me. And most of us know how to spin the tires and make things miserable to make 11 miles of very much a hellish environment to slow things down. We can put people in the mud and grind you into the like. Bad weather, terrain, something happens, and now 11 and a half miles becomes very, very miserable. And, or there's just something to slow things down so you can keep them in that 11 miles. One hex. I'm just going with the idea of what one hex is.
Yeah. My
And
one of my favorite modules or adventure source books of all time is The Silver Way
mhm,
from Harn, and it details three hexes where you got to travel with donkeys up and down a mountain pass, and you got to make sure they don't die because you're carrying all the silver from the Kuzdun, the dwarves. The dwarves gave you all this stuff, and they're not like friendly as shit to you. They're just like there to transact with you, and then show your little caravan where you need to leave and go back to your where we came from.
yeah,
And you have three hexes you got to navigate. It's like the movie The Sorcerer, if you're into that.
yeah, no,
DM James, I gave a link of yours in your Discord, by the way.
yeah, but honestly, but I think we as GMs we're afraid of ending a game because we're not we're not good enough to be like we don't want to let go of the power and the control because there is a bit of an emotional power trip that comes from oh GM you're the you're the one in charge like they're in like please continue to run the thing that we're part of tell us what you need to know to like it's a power trip it is on some levels if we allow it to go to our heads. And some of us do. We like that sycophantic mentality. Some GMs more than others who require like no 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 you're playing in my game. You're here because I allow you to be in my group at my table to play my game. But at what point do the players are the players actually playing? Or are they following a script that's in your head? Are they playing a guessing game when they're trying to guess what you're thinking? And then they're playing Mother May I. May I do this? May I? Am I allowed to do this? And I'm simplifying it. I'm making it sound as bad as possible because when you strip away all of the fluffiness, it's a big giant game of GM, am I allowed to do this? And if you're playing with the power trip mentality, they're sitting here going, they're going in the back of their heads, going, "Do I want this to work? Yes, maybe, no." And we give a DC of yes, no, maybe, and we're letting the dice do the deciding for us. We're not making it a realistic, I don't want to say realistic, but we're not making it a fair choice. We've already decided in our heads what the answer is going to be. We're hoping the dice, they can guess and dice. But the thing is that if we cut all that bullshit out and let the GM have to, and let the players have to decide, well, what do I do when I'm given freedom? What do I do? And they just kind of sit there and stare at you, and they're waiting. They're waiting for you to tell them what to do. And well, you failed as a GM at that point because they don't know what to do. You haven't trained them. You haven't prepared them for freedom, for thought, for being a person. You train sheep, you train followers, you train cultists who need you to do all their thinking for them. You have to set the room up for them. You set the scene, and then they wander in and do the automatic things, and then they get the little dog treat, the little Pavlovian dog treat, and you go good or bad. Bad is just bad, and good is good. And but the thing is that if you drop them somewhere and just go do something, hopefully you've given them enough information to do something, to be their character without you pulling the strings. Do they have a do they have a goal? The idea here comes up with the idea of can you run? Can you like do you have an agenda? Like did you give them a plot line big enough that they want to go out and do something? Do they want to talk to someone? Do they want to or are they just going to stand around and like fuck, fuck, drink, and sleep, and just wait for something to happen. And it's like, and at this point, players, the answer you might get is, well, we're going to do like, you just need to have one player go, I'm doing something, and the game continues, and the game will continue at that point because someone is doing something, someone's interacting with the game. But if nobody interacts beyond just simply I sit around and wait, we're too afraid to lose the control to say the game's over. What do you mean the game's over? You don't you don't have anything to do. Obviously, you don't know what you need to do. Well, you need to tell us, no, no, no. That's on me. I have failed. I have failed you guys because I didn't prepare you. We're level what, 16? And you guys don't know what to do.
Sounds scary as shit if you're playing that damn long and you have that many clueless moments.
Right. But the thing is that at I'm going to say that like level 5 on through wherever you end the game, the players should have figured themselves out. You should have given them enough tools for them to figure themselves out, to have built themselves into a game, into a group, into personalities, into characters. They should have motivations and goals. They don't need a backstory. The backstory was level 1 through 5 to get to here. That's their
That's
backstory.
right.
That's their motivation. Whatever that's been happening should be their motivation. But at at any point, if you were just to cut the strings, the players should be able to walk themselves. Go somewhere, do something. They should have a goal, people they want to interact with. And hell, if they want the game to become slice of life, where they're more focused on their home, on their home lives, and they're trying to work on something or build it or building, that's still them interacting with the world and still playing. Yeah, the game was ever meant for that, but you're still playing the game. The game can go forward. You can create things, complications to the world, make them, push them out of their safe spaces, and have them get back to adventuring. But the players are the ones setting the pace at that point. They've chosen that we're going to do this, but they just stand around and stare at you and have nothing. No goals, no one to chat with, no desire to increase more wealth. They have enough money to sit around and smack their dick around and drink. Well, congrats, the game is over. The session, like, your time is no longer, like, obviously I have failed you as a GM, you have failed as a player, and this game ends. We'll start a new game next week. Start thinking of new characters. Start like same like and now you have a week to address what did you do wrong? Because I know none of us like to do institutional scab picking. I mean, I mean, who writes an after action report for a campaign or for an adventure? But the thing is that that's an important task. Yeah, and at some point you need to retire, and the thing is that you're right. Travis, you're right. Find a different game. Retire the character. Just pushing it forward to the next, from one disaster to the next disaster, is okay. The thing is that at some point there's a lull, and you just go, "I'm done," and everyone goes off to go retire. New story time, new game, have fun, and hey, my search history has put me on multiple watch lists, so I don't care. I'm a GM.
That makes me feel happy reading that.
Look, I was trying to figure out how to how to differentiate explosive filler for shells, and how to figure out to work out the evolution and for a system I wanted to do for various explosive types. And because I had to research what the hell RDX and I RDX and many other explosive compounds were, I know I'm on a watch list. And then I was trying to figure out, how do I define what kind of saving throw X and Y forms of spicy war crimes gases. Uh, would that be a stunning effect, or would that be a con save, or does this create a blind, like, how would I run this particular form of nerve gas as a weapon, as a D&D weapon, gas distribution system, and going, and I'm on a watch list. um,
It's still funny. I'm laughing.
it's, and yes, dimension. God. Oh yeah, we got problems,
Yes,
and
we do. We have real problems. First
I,
world problems.
they're first world problems. But yeah, are like, do you play a role playing game? Yes. Do you GM one? Yes. Congratulations, you're on a watch list. Why? Because you searched. You're searching up solutions to problems, and now like they're starting to wonder, why is he researching propellant? Why is he researching primary and secondary fillers for warhead for warhead shells? How is it? Why is he researching the chemical compositions and how they're manufactured? I'm a I, I'm a terrorist. No, I'm trying to figure out how 18th and early 20th century industrialization happened. Right. You're running a role playing game. Sure. And I'm like, I just want to shoot. I just want to know how many dice damage my shells do. That's all I want. Wrong answer. Wrong answer. You're a terrorist. Ah, fuck.
All the search results are purple. Yeah, I was looking for that on earlier today. Well, I'm actually kind of out of talking points. I apologize, but like the thing is that whenever we get to a game day, you have to work ahead of time, because if you don't, then you're going to be just consulting the book, consistently consulting that, going back to the boardroom, and you're just going to have a bunch of players that don't really like your style of game prep, because you need to look at the stuff before you get there. You need to look at the things before you sit down and start looking in the faces of all the people that trust you to do their free time right. And that's the biggest thing.
And it is a huge part of it.
I don't know
And
why people don't focus more on it. You could do so much if you had a way to help people creatively research their situation for their game. It would be a lot better.
and, it, and the thing is that it is a two-way street here. We can't just, like, because I can't read your mind.
No.
I I'm sorry, I'm not psychic.
Would you like to know
when
more?
I'm when I'm playing, I can't guess what you're thinking, and you can't guess what I'm thinking. So if I don't provide you as a GM what my goals are, I you can't help me. I mean, I may come to the table tabula rasa. I'm a blank slate, ready to play. I have a general idea of my character and my background, and my character and my origin and what class I am. There's a there's a framework there, but not much of one. So the thing here is that I know this is where I know I created my 40 questions sheets. We covered this back in Table Breakers, but it's a 40 question sheet. You don't need to answer any of them, but they were a framework to provide you as a player to know enough that you've done your homework. This is the invisible labor on the player's side, because I don't want a 40-page backstory that explains why you're the lost prince of I don't give a shit. But you need to have something. You need to bring something. The GM needs to bring something. You need to bring your attention, your knowledge, your care, and something that makes your character more than just disposable bot number 4. And so, because we're not playing Paranoia. I mean, Paranoia, you can easily get away with being clone number 4 of and you're good. But and I know part of this has also got to be where I want to say that the style of game is going to be very, very important, and what your player and what your GM is going to run, because it's
Yeah.
really hard. I know that when we talk about lethality, like before we got onto the stream, I made a comment about I made a monk and he died on adventure 2 because, well, it's your first level, 1 crit, and you only got 9 hit points. You get you get exploded pretty dang easy, and well, it was death. I mean, I know it was 5e, and I know there was the death saves, but the saving throws weren't easy, and there was no way I was going to make them all. Death happens, and so I made a new character. But the thing here is that it presents the problem of it's we need to put the labor in ahead of time to know what kind of story we're going to tell and what kind of world we're going to run. If we want the idea of the player characters being someone who's important, someone who's a main character, a main character, you have to dial the lethality back. But if you start to run it to you're just one, but if you dial the lethality up, you're telling the players, and the world has to reflect the idea that life is cheap, and the person you're playing is just one stray bullet away from death. And the problem is that we're eternally always running through we're always in conflict with this gear, because whenever again, this came up a lot when we were doing Table Breakers,
Yeah.
was the constant bringing up of the hero's journey thing. Well, that assume if you immediately accept that the hero's journey is something that happens and is going to happen, you're you are implicitly saying at this point lethality is actually like
Lethality bad. Lethality bad.
it is, because you're setting players on the journey. The thing is that I know last episode that we did this, we were talking about Star Wars at the end, and the idea of how much would have changed had Skywalker died on the trench run, or died anywhere. The hero's journey goes away at that point. It's where if you subscribe to the hero's journey mentality, you are screaming that you are quietly telling yourself that you are not presenting true danger. You're creating the illusion of danger. You want your players to succeed, so the lethality is there to be faked. But if you embrace the idea that characters die, and they die in droves, like from every trap, and we want if you hit 0 hit points and you go to -10, you're dead. Well, at that point, you have true lethality, like, because as much as we like the idea of the hero's journey for a movie or a book or a story, we're not playing a movie, book, or story, because that's one thing that you hear a lot is that we're not writing a book, we're not playing in a movie, we're playing a game, and that lethality is there. So maybe we should look less at Lord of the Rings or Wheel of Time or at Star Wars, Indiana Jones, because none of those are actually what we're playing. That's not the world we're playing in. Maybe we should start looking at the heroes of a much bloodier and more brutal existence. It it might be having to look at. I know I'm going to quote the most recent episode of The Fat Electrician, like Chosin Reservoir, or anywhere else in the Pacific, or any major war in history. Maybe we need to start looking at those as being at the marches of the Civil War, or the fights on the frontier, because those are where. And look at the I don't want to call them heroes, but the heroes who are really not heroes are just people who are in the moment of the event. And the thing here is that some of the heroes that we call heroes are merely the heroes because they survived. We know who the guy who's got a Purple Heart, who's got the you know all the awards and all the medals because they lived. We don't know about the 47,000 who didn't. And when we play a high lethality game, well, I want heroes. The heroes are just the ones who survive. And a lot of those might go, no, the real heroes are the ones who died, and that begins to put the change the story shifts. You're now going. People are going to die in droves, and because we know people die in droves because that's how we run those combats. We run where it's one hero. It's one person who's motivated to go out and do something above and beyond the call of duty and do better, achieve. When honestly, it's just simply, I know we want to dress it all up with the idea that we're heroic because, we don't want to run a major war, but no, we just want to run an endless string of skirmishes. It's what we're doing. It's most of the time it's just simply like we might as well be like, oh no, my guy's wearing plate mail and carrying a sword and things, and look, we're deep down running running Vietnam, but with medieval because at a certain point you got to kind of realize that's kind of where the era the game was written in was. That was the Vietnam era. Or we have the kick doors, blow shit up mentality. Well, you can look at 20 years of sandbox fun there and look at the misery. Like, it is a miserable experience. But the thing is, like, do we really want to play that? There's plenty of games that do it better. I mean, hell, that's what Twilight 2000 is for. Is for the people who want to cut away all the we're not heroes. We're just surviving a miserable experience until it's over. And maybe we'll do something spectacular. Maybe we'll be the hero who managed to charge in and do the thing that stopped the bad guy from conquering the world. You blew up the galactic trapezoid and prevented the bad guy from summoning demons. Okay, cool. We added a fantastical element to it. But maybe if we're going to run a high lethality game, we should accept that we should be making it a high lethality universe and stop being nice. But if we're going to accept that we're going to run a book, we got to
Well,
realize that maybe we should be more willing to be a narrative. And this is going to be hiding in the background of that, to go back to the invisible labor. This is what you need to think about when you're writing, the role playing game that you're going to, like, the adventures you're going to write, the game you're going to run, the players are going to be running it. This is what you should be thinking about. And when your players are thinking, like, you should be giving the players enough knowledge ahead of time to know that no, we're going to be running a heroic game, a hero's journey game, or are you going to be running a Medal of Honor story, where who's the actual hero? I don't know. Maybe it's going to, let's be honest, it's probably going to be a guy who grew up in the woods, and he's got main character energy. Why? Trust me, he's got main character energy. Will he be the main character? You don't know. You don't, because we don't know how many people had similar stories that didn't make it. And when we play and when you play with the high lethality mentality, that might be actually what you're dealing with. But we don't want to think about that because, I don't know, partially it could be this survivor bias, the idea that, well, of course the heroes I know, well, yeah, you got to meet your grandfather. He beat the odds. I mean, so that when they told you the stories, they beat the odds. They came home. You don't know that. Like, you don't know what everybody else's story is unless unless you can find some old photographs in an old tin can. That's the best you're gonna get. And for most players, and look at some of the asshole GMs that we've got. You know, the kind that when you die, they just take your character sheet and shred it and throw it in the garbage. Well, congratulations, a nameless body that like just it's a forgotten. Congratulations, you're a statistic. You play the statistic, and I know that's what they're like. And for some players, they're not ready for that kind of mentality, and some of us have a very grim and dark attitude towards it, and kind of realize that's actually what we're like. That's actually the kind of attitude you're running, and then they wonder why some of us take a very brutal, bloody, and dark attitude towards their game at that point, because now we realize, no, okay, this isn't about being a hero or being role playing and nice. This is being simply, we're going to kill everything that's bad in the area, and then we're going to go home, and a lot of people are going to get hurt. Hopefully, more of them than us, and then that's it. It's not a great mentality.
no,
I don't want to run that. I don't want to run that. I can. I don't want to run it, but it's deep
I'll be right
down when
back.
you drill through it. That's what we're running. If we don't let our players be heroic, if we depend too much on the roll of the dice, we're putting people through utter, complete, and total hell for fun. Isn't that nice? I'm sorry, I just kind of killed the mood there.
Yeah, I want players to be able to do stuff. I want them to be able to achieve.
Mm-hmm.
More importantly, like tonight, one of the big things that happened, it kept like, I hate saying like episode one couching, but they kept like getting to a point and they would talk. and they had like real meaningful planning. They weren't like in character like what Shauner would want you, but they were actually getting into the nitty gritty of what we're going to do next, and I fucking love that. As a DM, I needed that. I don't know how else to put that. I want to have a game where my players get along with each other,
Mm-hmm.
and like this group, Chris is a new guy in this group. Like, how often do I get to say that about anything? Chris, the new guy, you know, but he's never met this group before, and he's getting along pretty good with them. He's doing stuff, and I'm really enjoying everything. Travis, have a good night, my friend. Thank you for
Good
being here.
night.
So it was a very well worth it system game tonight because it was more about like logistics. What are we doing next? How are we going to get through this? And I'm gathering information as to what my players are going to be able to choose from for their feats and their like rage choices or rage power choices or rogue talent pieces.
Yeah,
I think that's awesome.
it
Really
is.
love this system.
And honestly, that's a good place to be. Is when if that's going to be what if that's your biggest problem is what how I'm going to reward my players later down, next session. That's a good place to be. I don't really have a better way of putting it, but I wish I had a better way of putting it.
I'd do it. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, and honestly, like I want to spend more of my time figuring out what I want to do next. What where my players are going. Like what have they been doing that is interesting and will be an interesting story next for that. Like what complication can I throw at them that will make for an interesting story next session? I don't want to have to figure out what am I going to do? It should be so fucking obvious what is going to happen next. I mean, the players should have broadcasted it to you.
Mhm.
What they're going to, like. It's like I like how when you end yours, you're like, okay, next session we'll get to. We're coming back to this. You, we now have established what the next thing is, and that's a great feeling.
I love that.
And I know we get like it's okay to navel gaze occasionally to like look at ourselves and go, what could I do better? And that shit, and that's a good question. If we're going to be self-examining ourselves, asking ourselves what we can do better is never a bad thing. I I like I know it's the institutional scab picking comment coming back one more time, but it honestly is what we all should be doing a bit more to make sure that we're giving our players the best game for their time because they're coming to us. We should be giving them as good, as much as they're giving us. And sometimes it doesn't work, and sometimes it doesn't work. And so at that point, knowing when to say that was a good game.
Yeah.
And does anybody else want to run, or do we want to start new characters? And because sometimes the gas does wear and does run out,
Yep.
and sometimes you end up realizing that it's been 6 months and nobody's really done a whole lot. And I'm not going to say 6 months in game, I'm saying 6 months of real life time playing. And, well, they pushed through the story, and obviously there wasn't anything left to do. You know, you beat the Dark Lord. Do you want us to do 25 minutes of 5 different endings? I mean, is that what you guys want? And maybe they want the extended edition. Five fake out endings before we get to the actual ending where you roll credits, or maybe you just simply go and you go home and you end up back at your house, and then you went, well, that was a time, and you make another make another character, and could be in the same world a couple years, a couple decades later, and play a new story and have some more fun.
I'm like,
And but it really comes down to achieving lichdom. There you go. There's a there's a goal. At least there you have a goal, and you could cause an infinite amount of complications. And as long as if you're going to achieve lichdom, make sure you drag the rest of the players with you, so that way they're still at least part of it. Because if you wander off by yourself and everybody else sitting around with with their thumbs at their butts, that's still mostly a game over. But if you can drag the rest of the players with as you assemble I don't know, whatever steps you need to achieve lichdom, and the players get to be part of it, I don't know. That sounds like a lot of fun, actually. I would actually kind of I wouldn't mind running that game, and because I know right now I'm contemplating a bunch of things, and the thing is that I don't. When I was younger and stupid and a loner, I was like, "Oh no, my character was steering alone." Now I'm to the point now where I'm like, "Now I want to drag everyone else with."
it sounds like
Why?
fun though.
It does, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, sexy lich is still a fucking goal. Preser- Body preservation's a thing. I mean, cool. There's some things we can do with that, and I mean, whatever floats your boat. But now we got something that can be interesting to be a fun story.
I'll take that. I'll take fun stories over bullshit every fucking time.
Yeah, and at the entirety, it's like the rest of the world's burning over here. No. I need this formaldehyde, this special formulation of formaldehyde that's going to inhibit all forms of decay of my body, so that way I will stay a nice and squishy corpse, and that's not decaying for eternity. Yes, or just periodically be like, will this work? And watch the fun complications, because honestly, that would be hilarious.
I'd go for
And
that.
or just simply realizing that, okay, this body part is currently decaying, I need to replace it, and go find a fresh piece of body part, and the graft on, and you get some cool effects at that point. I would there's a story to run there, and other players can go, wait, we're all trying to figure out different forms of, and at that point the game can rapidly become who can figure out a different form of immortality for each player. You get lichdom and somebody else is trying to look for a different form of immortality, and you might have that one player who goes, I'm going to be a Chinese emperor and drink mercury. That will not work. But who said you said who says everyone has to succeed? What?
Jesus.
What?
You said they have to succeed.
You don't have to succeed. You have to try.
The attempt it has to be valid. That's all.
Yeah,
I like that.
yeah. And the thing is that I'm. We decided to in one of the groups that I'm playing in, we're deciding that we wanted to do our own version of Dante's Inferno for a D&D world. And it's like,
Hey, Trav.
but it was fun because we were trying to just wander through it. But the thing is, are we succeeding? No. But it's fun. The trip is the journey is the fun part, and sometimes the failure is more fun than succeeding. Because honestly, what did you, I if you win? What did you win?
Did you win a good story? Did you win it in a fun way? If you did it the super most careful way humanly possible, it was mechanically, everything's perfect and there was no complications. Did you really have fun doing it?
Everything is awesome.
Yeah,
Everything is cool when you're part of the team.
yeah. Like, and for somebody who's like a Reed Richards type person, that's oh yeah. I've overplanned everything. Everything's fun until it's not, and it's always fun when the oh god, the Skaven route, yes, Warpstone. And I know a few, and I know a few of my friends who, if I mentioned the idea of magical warp rocks falling from the sky, they would go full Skaven. They would just I'm pretty sure they would start screaming everything like warp style. They would go the full Skaven RP thing, and I'd be like, "Do you just want to change your character and play a Skaven?" And I'm pretty sure they would. The moment I asked that question, they would just roll a life size 1-for-1 scale Doom wheel out of their garage and be like, "Yes." And I'm like, "Do you just have that on standby, waiting for the chance to play a Skaven?" And they're like, play. Oh. And then they would go laughing and rolling off on their hamster wheel of doom over to somewhere else, and they would embrace the stupidity. But I also know a few friends who, if I gave them the opportunity to do something way stupid, they would take it. They would take it in a heartbeat, and just give them the opportunity, and it would be a blast. Oh my god, yeah, Paul Allen's phylactery, and that's the fun part is like to see what players choose to be their phylactery, because the idea of the magic spoon that's hidden somewhere, in the in the cheap silverware drawer, and that's where the phylactery's hidden.
That
And
could be an
just
interesting
make
game.
sure you put a skeleton behind the drywall, so that way you're close to a skeleton when you when you come back to life after your body is destroyed.
It's funny.
I mean, these are
Playing.
the
No,
what?
go ahead. Go ahead.
No, these are the things that I love when you're playing these kind of insane characters, and because there's a certain point where you transition from when you take the when you take the oh yeah, that would be a nice one. Actually, that would be a nice one for because no one would blow it up. And it's like at a certain point where you're just kind of like sitting back, and when you take the training wheels off and you don't and we're not sitting here playing the storyteller, writer, author role any longer, and the players are the ones who are deciding what to do. It's I think watching where the players go because is a lot of fun, because at that point you get to be the complication. You're not when the player does something stupid, you get to sit back and be the one who goes, "All right, you're out of food. What do you do?" Like they've set the goal. They want to go. They're trying to go home,
Yeah.
and because like at that point it's the Odyssey. Well, you need food. Well, I go here. You cause problems. Well, like there's a problem. Well, we defeat the problem. Well, how did you defeat the problem? And then you watch a player do something really arrogant, like you know, be cocky. Because what player isn't a smart ass, arrogant, cocky asshole? It's what we do. It's what we are. Especially when we think we've outsmarted someone, of course we're gonna be fucking cocky assholes. We just beat the odds, and now you get to throw a complication at them, and it's it's fun, and it gets progressively more fun as things crawl forward, and the players get to become the main character. Like they're not main characters because you chose them to be main characters. They become main characters because they've chosen to be main characters. Because when we take over the job of being the one who's running the show, like everything has to be how I want it, how I need it for a good story. We're actually kind of having the problem of we we force our players to be passive.
Yeah.
They don't have agency. They don't have a thought of what they're going to do. They're just going to sit back and wait. But when you give them the reins, they become main characters. They've made the conscious choice where, hey, are you going to be a supporting character or are you going to be a main character? And you can see who's going to be the main character and who's going to be support, because higher player humans form hierarchies. It's just what we do. It's human nature. We form hierarchies, and occasionally you get a band of brothers. Equals, three equals. Just one's a bit more equal than the others. That happens. You got their friends and allies who are also potentially equals, or they're not equals, or or something. Some dynamic is going to evolve, and then you play into that dynamic. And this is where knowing how to be a writer helps. Having read a lot of stories helps. Knowing the books helps, but you can't. But you're not the author. The player, technically, the players are the ones who are deciding if they're going to be
Everything.
important. Yeah, why? You're eating yes.
Which is phylactery. Yeah. Um, kind of wanting to exit early because I'm just like feeling a little fatigued here after like all the stuff this week. I will be around. We
Mm-hmm.
can we can continue this next time we do this show because I really like the idea of like getting behind the scenes and getting behind what what the DM does and what the important stuff is for a game and what you atypically will do to start delving in to your game world and getting it behind the scenes. So everybody that you want to have there at the table, they're going to have something that's going to be kind of custom tailored for them, and how to identify that, how to approach that, and then how to have that conversation, give it to them, and then see where they run with it. Again, I feel that you don't need to make everybody quote unquote feel special, but at the same time, you need to make a game to where everybody feels like they've got a good role in the situation.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes those roles change, but you want to have the players get along with each other for the most part. A little animosity is great, it'll go a long way,
Oh
but
god,
you
yeah.
want to have them have their input be the guiding factor. As much as I like the idea of a linear game, well, the dungeon leads this way, and there's only one passageway from the top of the mountain where the hole's at to the bottom of the dungeon where the big bad evil guy is. I don't like that. I'd much rather have control points, access points that they discover, places they go, all that. I think that stuff's amazing. The old Gary Gygax style of creating a dungeon that's multi-level, multi-entrance, and everybody kind of has an opportunity at some point to really prove to each other like how important their teamwork really is. But I want that to be the guiding factor for the game.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm wrong, but
No.
it's just me. Trav, uh, Trav, I'm going to give you a Discord server that you need to go to. And this is for Tinkar. This guy is a little bit of an older fella, but he's got some very good ideas for gaming. And they've got a recruiting center. That's fantastic. Go there, introduce thyself, say, I need somebody that knows how to play a good cleric. You'll get it. Tin Car was my introduction to Discord. I'm not a big fan of Discord, but out of all the places in Discord, that's the place where I would recommend people go. Tin Car is a largely center of the line type guy. He doesn't like doing politics. He doesn't like talking about current day bullshit. He wants to get back to gaming. He wants to bring back morale roles to games, which I kind of appreciate that. I don't know. That's just me. Kai, you doing anything big this week?
I'm going to camp out for most of the. I'm going to a log cabin for 4 days, and I'm going to get away from the world.
I envy you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's got a fireplace. I paid for firewood for it. I'm going to have it. It's got lawn chairs in the front of it. I'm just going to sit there with the wife. I'm going to sit there, look at the stars, look at a burn pit, go cook some meals, some food that I'm going to bring along with, and just not hear the city. I'm going to look at the sky and just not have my computer with me. I'll have my phone just for emergencies, and I'm just going to walk around the woods for 4 days.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
It is. It's been nice to get away from everything.
Well, such it is. I will be sweating in town and cleaning out grease traps starting on Monday morning, midnight Monday morning, and then the rest of the week will be normal for me. But look forward to seeing you all here in 2 weeks. Come back to us. Thank you so much, Kai, for being part of tonight's show.
I'm always happy to be here.
Thank you, sir.
Yep. Good night. Enjoy yourselves.
Dude,